All right. Let's get serious around here. All right, guys. Setback here. Another video. This is on 121, I believe. And today we're going to talk a little bit serious about things. A little bit serious subject matter. I'm feeling itchy, man. What's going on here? All right. I just came out the shower, so excuse the beard. I'm looking a bit wild, man, but yeah, I couldn't hesitate on this. I just wanted to get right into this before I start my day. So let's see here. So a month ago, somebody hit me up, and I want to respond to what they said. This was from a comment from, as I've been going through the past videos, right? I'm trying to touch on a lot of the comments that came through, especially the big issue ones. And one that stood out was that this was from video 119, which is basically on evolving beyond black recognition. And one comment that jumped out to me was, let's see if I can find, I'm going to read it to you guys. All right, it's from Satani Luciferi Inferni. This is from a month ago. So our brother here said, he says, bro, I really need to talk with you. Sorry if I'm being confusing, but now here in Canada where I am, in 2 years, I will be able to qualify for a medical assisted death, meaning that it will be legal and I would pass on. It was on the news and it said that it is expanded now, but put on a hold for 2 years. When 2 years comes, I will definitely be leaving from this fucking place. You even said, it's referring to me, you even said that world peace is a fantasy. Did I say that? I probably did. The world peace is a fantasy. So why stick around in a place where I can't be in peace and happy when I can just create my own creation? Also, my spirits or family from Tokyo no Kuni came back to me recently too. Okay. So, this individual here says that they want to, basically they will qualify for medical assisted death, which is in Canada. Now, I don't live in Canada, so I don't exactly know what goes on as far as assisted death. But, you know, suicide is a very serious thing, man. And I'm not coming to it from the point of a very, like a biblical point of view, of you're going to burn in hell and eternal damnation, or you're going to be stuck in purgatory forever for all eternity. But just from the sense of serious of, why do individuals want to do this? Why do individuals decide that they want to end their life? And we never really truly understand what goes through a person's mind when they decide that, you know, they're going to kill themselves and commit suicide. Now, I've been on I've been in this realm of reality for, at least in this lifetime, 40 years. That's how long I've been in this specific reality here. And, you know, I have no shame in sharing these stories. I'm going to share a story with you guys from my personal life since I've been here. And this is going back to when I was probably around maybe 17. Could have been about 17, right? So, sit down because it's story time with Seth. So, going back, I was about 17. I had this girlfriend of mine, and it was my first, I would say, first real girlfriend. You know, as in the first real sexual encounter that I had with a person. And of course, as usual for most people, especially men and women both, but especially men, when you have sex with a person, a lot of times you think, she's the one. I'm in love, and you have all these nonsense fantasy ideas that this is the person you're going to be with for a very extended period of time. And basically what happened was, I don't even remember how long we were together because this person has been deleted from my memory banks, but I don't know, we could have been together a year, maybe two, something like that. So at that time, I had a best friend who was a friend of mine at the time, and we were extremely close. Now, best friend based on, for my age, what I'm trying to say is, like, at the time I thought this was a best friend. You know, I was young and I assumed it was my best friend. We do everything together, all that nonsense, right? So, I'm going to touch on a few points for this, right? it was always my best friend, me and him going out, and then at some point my girlfriend of that time started coming around, so it was just the three of us. Rule number one for dating: you never mix your mates and your friends together. That's just a rule that I believe in. You keep these things separate. And it's not about being weak and all you're worried about someone's going to take it from you. But if you want to avoid those issues of potentially things like that happening, just keep things separate. And this was the first life lesson I learned. And don't worry, I'm not deviating from the suicide point, but it's all going to tie together. So, it got to a point where we were always going out together, and I was like, oh, this is so great, my best friend and my girl, and we're having fun, we're driving around the car, and he had a car because he was a bit older than me at that time. So then we started working together. I used to be a nailist. I used to work in his nail salon, man, and yes, I know it sounds crazy. What, you were doing nails? Yeah, I was a nailist for some time. I forgot all that shit by now, but yeah, I was doing that, making good money too, and we were all working together. It was her family's shop. He started working there. Well, actually, I was working there first, and then he would come pick us up with the car. And then because I lived, on a certain, whatever the pathway was for going home, he could have dropped me off first and then drop her off later and all this shit. So, being naive, he was like, yo, man, take good care of my girl, man, just drop her off. And it was just like a thing, Little did I know, these two was creeping, of course. You see where the story's going. So that summer, I had to go visit my family down in Florida, visit my pops, my dad, and all this stuff. So I went down to Florida, and it's funny, right? Because when I went on this trip, it was my first time, I think, visiting Florida, and my aunt, had a nice crib, nice house, indoor pool, all that shit. I called my girl, and I remember, man, it was like, this shit was like straight up a Hollywood movie, man. It was like, I called her, and it was like, her sister picked up, and I was like, yo, where's she at, And she was like, I don't want to get involved. Now, the sister, she had like a bunch of sisters and brothers, but this one specific sister, they always had some shit with them, so I'm guessing this was her way of getting revenge or whatever. So the sister was like, I don't want to get involved. So I'm like, all right, clearly something's going on. So remember, I'm young at this time. So I'm like, so what's up? What's going on? She was like, she's not here right now. She's with him. And I was like, what? Didn't make sense. Because it was like, I think when I made that phone call, it had to be like after past midnight, like 1 a.m. or some shit. So I called. And mind you, this is like on my first day. I just got on a 2-week trip that I had to be on. I think it was like 2 weeks or some shit. So imagine all this kicking off your first day on your trip of 2 weeks. And you don't have the power to run back home because you with family. So anyway, so I called his crib. And it's funny because I'm like, yo, man, have you seen this, my girl? And he was like, nah, man, I haven't seen her. And then I hear some laughing in the background. And it's her voice. So I'm like, well, that's her right there. And he was like, look, man, I don't know what to say. So then I said, put her on the phone. So I'm like, yo, what are you doing while you're in his house? I was on some straight simp time. I was young. So I'm like, oh, what are you doing while you're there? And she's like, listen, I'm just having a good time. Don't call me anymore. Click, hung with the phone. So, of course, I start calling the phone back. I'm calling the phone back. No answers. Mind you, this is all on the first day of a 2-week trip. So I'm bugging out. Every day I'm fucking calling cars. I'm trying to put change in the phone. And remember, this is a long distance call from Florida to NYC to New York. So I was like, oh, man, this is crazy. So anyway, long story short, 2-week trip is over. Get back home. And I power walk. The distance I had to walk, this was like, I remember it was a hot summer day. Came home, dropped my luggage off. My grandma was like, hey, boy, how you? I was like, yeah, grandma, I gotta go. Bounce, ran out the door, So I power walked. Had all this shit running through my head, man. And it was mostly confusion, because like, when I say this person was my best friend at the time, it was like, this was my man, my only friend, really, at that time. And we were doing a lot of shit together. So, it was confusing at that time. And mind you, in this story, I was young. I was like 17, I think. So I rolled up to her crib, which was a very far distance. I don't know. I walked every, man. It was a troop. I would say I probably walked for about, I don't know, could have been 2 3 hours or some shit. I don't know. I wasn't even thinking. I was so mad and confused. I wouldn't even consider, hey, just hop on a bus. It would have been faster. But whatever. I guess I was trying to burn off steam and go over shit in my mind about what was happening. So get to the crib. She's not there. So her family lets me in. She had all these brothers and sisters and fucking characters running around. So I get in the house and where are they? They're like, well, I don't know. So then I bounce from there and I'm power walking. I don't know where the fuck I was going, but it was somewhere. I was power walking. I run into another friend of hers. And this other friend of hers, they also have some issues together. So I was like, yo, what's up, man? Have you seen so-and-so? And she's like, I don't want to get involved. And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, tell me right now. So she's like, listen, her and him, they've been seeing each other like for a minute. And when you left that night, that was like the first night they finally, did whatever and shit and had sex. So I was like, that shit blew my mind, man. I was like, what? So roll back to her crib. I try to wait for them. They ain't come. So finally they come, right? And this shit was hilarious. It was like straight out of a WB drama or some shit. I'm sitting on, like, in her courtyard, up at the top step. His car rolls up in front of the building, and he gets out the car and goes around and opens the door for her. She gets out wearing a dress that I've never seen her wear before, that she said she hated dresses. She's rocking a dress, and she's holding, like, a bouquet of flowers or some shit. So they're holding hands, walking up the steps. If you can imagine this, I'm sitting on the stoop of the stairs like that, with fucking Hades inside of me, and it's like, so when he gets to the top, so when they both look up simultaneously, they see me. He's like, whoa! He actually made the sound. He was like, whoa! And he fell 2 steps back, and. It was like some shit, man. I was like, how could you do this to me? We were brothers. It was like TV shit, man. So we're going through all that, and then it starts pouring, raining. And then this shit was just so dramatic. So he drops down on his knees. He's like, please forgive me. I didn't know what to do. Oh. And then she goes, don't touch him. And then she says this. She goes, I love him. And I was like, what? So we went through all the shit. I don't remember exactly what happened. I don't know if I punched him or something, but it was a whole altercation outside this building. So we're going through all this shit. I think he bounces. I end up. All right, so this is the point of the story about leading up to suicide. So, and I start tripping. So I'm like, oh. Because remember, this was a lot of heavy shit for me, man. You know what I'm saying? It was like my best friend, my girl. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, if this makes sense, this is going to be a near-suicide story with a twist of comedy to it. To keep things light as well as learn. I grab a butcher knife from her house. Not to kill her, but I was thinking about killing myself. So I go to the top of her building, which is in the hallway of this building, and I'm like, holding this butcher knife, and I'm like, that's it. I want to die. I can't take it. Nothing's making sense. I'm gonna do it. So I hold a knife to my wrist, and I'm looking at my wrist, right, and I'm like, shit, man, I don't really like blood that much, man. So I'm like, fuck. So this is what's going through my mind. A lot of people say nobody knows what goes through people's mind when they kill themselves. Well, this is what was going through my mind when I was attempting to kill myself. So I was like, I'm gonna commit suicide. That's it. I'm gonna do it. And I'm holding a knife on my wrist. I'm like, yeah, but fuck, I just don't like blood, man. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So then I go to the roof of the building. I'm like, fuck this. Go to the roof. And like, that's it. I'm gonna jump. And it's funny how this is why I believe young people need support systems, where when you have all this bullying shit going on, these assholes want to like push up on kids, anybody, but it happens to kids a lot too. It could be anybody. You have a lot of bullying going on, and they need a support system, man, of confidence, of people telling, man, fuck that bitch, or fuck that shit, man, fuck that nigga. You don't need these people, man. Somebody has to say this stuff to people to get it in their head, because if they don't, this is the kind of shit that young people do. Illogical things. So I'm standing on the roof of this building, and I'm like, that's it. I'll show her. I'll jump. And when I'm dead, then she'll realize how much I loved her. So I look over the edge of the building, and I'm like, oh, shit. That's a pretty far drop, man. I'm like, damn, that shit's gonna hide. So I'm looking over the edge, and I'm like, I don't know about this, man. I'm like, shit, with my luck, I'll probably jump and survive and end up in a fucking wheelchair and shit all banged up. And that's seriously what I was thinking at the time. I was like, well, I said, knowing me, I'm gonna jump, bounce off of like a fucking fire escape or something on a ledge, and I'll end up surviving, paralyzed from the neck down, all over this shit. So at some point, you know, I sit down and I just start thinking about stuff, man. You know, and like, what am I doing? And this comes to when you have your inner self, man. Now, at that time, I wasn't into the inner self at the level I'm on now, but you know, the inner self is in there showing me visions. It wasn't talking to me, because if I would have heard the voice, like you guys not talk about voices and shit, that probably would have sent me over there. Oh shit, I had a mental break. So it was more in the form of images being given to me. Images that had a lot of impact and information encoded within them. You know, so it was like an image. They say your life flashes before you. So basically, it was me sitting on the edge of this building with the images in my mind of how this would play out and the ramifications, the consequences of my actions. And I saw my parents crying, saw my mother crying, my grandmother, my dad, everybody saying, how could this happen? You know, just a whole bunch of things, man, that would have happened if I would have just decided to, you know, off myself at that time. So after sitting up there, I don't even remember how long I was up there. Who knows? Could have been hours, could have been a few minutes, but it felt like a long time. So I finally decided, you know what? This shit is stupid, man. What am I doing here, man? So I'm going back downstairs. And it's funny how this whole process, nobody knew any of this was happening. Nobody knew about this and shit. So I slide back into our crib, put the kitchen knife back in the fucking rack, and I'm bouncing. I run into a friend that was a mutual friend of all of ours, and they were like, look, man, don't worry, it's going to get better, blah, blah, blah. And they took me to, this one particular person took me to one of his friend's houses, and I stood there for like the night or the weekend. I think it was the night, I don't remember, but I stood the night there, definitely. And they're like, don't worry, it's going to get better, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, let's just say, for example, like if that happened on a Monday. By Friday, I'm at this other school, which they were all cool with at this school, and I was hanging around this other school, and I met these other group of people. It was like a whole new world was opening up to me, a new group of people. And next thing you know, if that happened on Friday, on Monday, by Friday I was at the other school, and next thing you know, by the end of that week, I was in this other girl's house doing my thing. You know, and it's funny because not only was it just any other girl, for that group, this was like the baddest chick that they had in this group, which that's another story I'll share with you another time when they tried to kill me or something. But this chick was so hot that when they found out I was messing with her, I had dudes crying, like literally crying, like, oh my God, I've been in love with her since elementary school, and all this, you know, beta male sim shit they were going through. But the point is, from that jump off point, for me sleeping with this other girl, it turned into like that ex was my first girlfriend, and then I had hipped up with this chick that was 10 times hotter than her. And then from that point forward, I basically, and this ain't me just bragging and shit, but I've never been single. Like, I've never had a problem having girlfriends and women. Like, I've always had somebody, you know. So, you know, I've always never had an issue with dating. And I've had a lot of experiences, man, a lot of good times, and a lot of just amazing stories that, if y'all want to hear these stories, I can share them with you. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to hear some of these stories and stuff. But, yeah, man, it was just like, I would have missed out on all of this if I would have gone through with committing suicide. Now, going back to the person's comments in the YouTube channel about the assisted suicide, it's like, I don't know what you're going through, brother. I don't know what it is, but, and I'm not going to say your life is not serious, you know, whatever your issues are, that they're not that serious. I can't downplay other people's experience. I don't know what you're going through, But, you know, if you compare it to other people in this reality system's circumstances, you could always say, well, shit could be 10 times worse, man. You know, you could be chained up as a sex slave in somebody's basement, you know, literally 1 block away from your house, and your family's been looking for you for like, you know, 3 years. This shit, you hear this shit all the time. It happens all the time in the news. It goes on, you know. Or you could be, it could be anything, man. You know, you could have a crazy disease that's, you know, eating away your body and taking, or, you know, it could be anything, man. So whatever you're going through, I'm not going to downplay and say it's not serious, but you have to question, could it be worse? You know? And it could always be worse. No matter what situation you find yourself in, it could always be worse. I don't care what it is. If you lost 1 finger, you could have lost 2 fingers. You could have lost 5. You could have lost some more. If you lost a foot, you could have lost both your feet. You know, if you got shot once, you could have got shot 2 times. You know, if you got slashed once, it could have been triple slashing. There's always, things could always be much worse, man. So you have to try to use your power to find out, you know, you got to try to find some peace with yourself. And you said in the comment section, let me just double back because I don't want to misquote. But you said in the comment section, you even said, which is me, that the world peace is a fantasy. So why stick around a place where I can't be at peace and happy, and I can just create my own creation? Well, you just answered your question right there. Why commit suicide if you realize the fact that you could just create your own world and create your own, you know, experiences? Why go that route? Maybe if I did say world peace is a fantasy, I don't remember saying that. I probably did. I'm not going to say I didn't say it. It's possible I did say that. And it's because it's true. There will never be a world peace, because we can have peaceful times. But if you're thinking about it from a very, you know, simplistic point of view of world peace, where there's no more violence, no more guns, no more wars, no more hate, that's a fantasy, because as long as there's difference, there will always be conflict. And even if there was world peace, let's just say hypothetically that we even managed to finally reach a point where we have a global world peace, it would be a matter of time before we found another reason to hate each other, another reason to, you know, put people into specific categories. And it doesn't matter. Like, people are always going to find a reason to complain about something or to justify why they're better or more superior than another group of people. And it doesn't matter how, you know, how simple it is. It could be, let's just say, I'm just thinking off the top of it, but let's just say we had a world where everyone was given $20 million. Everyone got $20 million evenly to start this new age of peace and prosperity. And somewhere, there's going to be some asshole sitting around going, well, why not 21 million? I mean, there's always going to be that one individual who everyone's happy. Most people don't have $20 million in their bank account. I sure as hell don't. I wish I did. I could do a lot more, you know, helpful things for society with my channel and stuff. But, you know, and on a, you know, on a more face-to-face stage. But you figure most people don't have $20 million. So if everyone had $20 million, you're going to have that one asshole somewhere who's just not happy. So, well, why not 21 million? So then he's going to go and find a way to get that extra bit. Let's say if the government says 20 million is the base that anyone could have at any one time. No one goes over 21. Well, there's going to be that one guy who's going to say, well, fuck that. I want 21 million. And he's going to find a way to hustle, do whatever, get into some underground market shit, get the 21 million. And then someone else is going to say, well, shit, if he has 21 million, I want 21 million. And then this is how it starts. You know, it starts to infest, you know, the mentality and spread through society like a disease. And next thing you know, you have one person in the underground market trying to get 21 mil, another person who wants it as well, but they also want to get 22 or more. Now they're having a fight. Now they start a crew. Now you got a gang. Now you got a mafia. Now you got a cartel. And then it just spreads out. So there's always going to be that aspect. So don't think in terms of, you know, hey, we can't have world peace because it's a fantasy, so I might as well just kill myself. You know, that's you can't think in those terms, man, because that's just not how life is. But you could have peace with yourself. And how do you have peace? By you gotta this all comes back to, man, finding peace within you. And what terms are you going to be satisfied with living life? Because everybody has different reasons for wanting to die, right? And a lot of times, some of those reasons are for, there's solutions to these reasons that could easily be fixed and solved, but they just don't see them clearly. And because they don't talk to people about these problems, or they don't have the right person in their ear giving them the knowledge, they feel there's no way out. It's like you have some people that are like, well, I want to kill myself because I can't get a girlfriend, nobody likes me, and I never get anybody in my life. And maybe that's true. Maybe you could be, you know, the 40-year-old virgin or the 25-year-old, the 30-year-old, whoever, and you can't get, no woman seems to like you at all. Speaking about men, this couldn't be both ways, or for men or women. Maybe no guy likes you and you're a woman, or you could be gay. It could be whatever. Let's just say you just don't have a partner. And you're wondering why. Well, let's see. Are you on point with your hygiene? Do you brush your teeth? Do you take showers? How does your body look? If you feel you're too skinny, start an exercise program. It's not that difficult, guys. You know, I don't expect people to live in the gym and look like fucking Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger in their prime, but you can, with all the shit that's on YouTube right now, you could easily look at a few channels, get a hint, and just start training in your house and bulking up. Or if you're a lady or female, you know, and a female vessel, you know, if you want to lose weight, same thing. If you want to train, you want to get a tighter body, you do the same thing. There's a lot of female channels out there for exercise. If you want to lose weight, cut back on your food. Stop eating all that garbage that's out there. But these are solutions that can easily, these are problems that can easily be solved with simple solutions. But people just don't see that because they get so caught up in their thoughts. And then you start time traveling. And what I mean by that is you start visualizing outcomes that could possibly happen. Well, I'm never going to get anybody. I'm going to be like that guy down the block who's been single for X amount of years. And, you know, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. So while you are projecting out to these alternate probable realities that may never come to pass, but probably will come to pass because this is what you're putting out there, now you're creating you're literally creating your reality at that moment. And you're not even realizing it. You know, you're unconsciously creating and manifesting your reality for all these things. So, you know, a lot of times people just need help, man. And if you feel like you want to commit suicide, this is why you need to get into more of a spiritual mindset. And when I say spiritual mindset, it doesn't necessarily mean if you want to go to church, you go to church. You want to go to the temple. If you're a Buddhist, go to the temple, the mosque, you know, wherever you want to go to, man. You know, there's always a support system. Or just talk to your family, man. You got to let people know, this is how I've been feeling recently. You know, and if you have a loving family or friends, you got to just let people know, man, because this is why when you see a lot of times people commit suicide, people are confused. They're like, I don't understand why did he or she do this. Everything seemed fine, and everything wasn't fine. It's like, for example, I'll give you guys a good example. Over here, there's a Japanese wrestler. Let me just get her name so you guys can look up the story. There's a Japanese female wrestler who committed suicide sometime, maybe last year or something. And she was on this show called Terrace House. Terrace House is like some reality TV nonsense that comes on. Her name was Hana Kimura. Cute girl, you know, she looks nice, decently, easily probably had no problem getting men. But she was a wrestler, and she ends up on this TV show. So I saw what happened, which kicked off, like, I think on the show, whether it was scripted or not, like, some dude put her wrestling uniform in a washing machine and fucked it up, and then she got mad, and then her going off on the guy resulted in people, the keyboard warriors, attacking her, like, oh, you should die, this and that, and they went off. So then she goes and commits suicide. And when I heard this, and when I saw her, it was so disappointing, man, because I'm like, this girl's kind of hot, you know, like, you know, clearly she could get a guy. Now, I'm not saying having a boyfriend is going to stop her from having, suicidal thoughts. But the point I'm making is that it's not like this was a person that was like 400 pounds overweight and, just had a bad life. So you figure, why does she want to commit suicide? You say, well, people from a materialistic point of view would say, well, she has everything. She's on TV. She's a wrestler. She has fans that love her. She has this. She has that. But all that shit don't matter, man, because, you don't know what's going on in people's heads, man, on a personal level, Yeah, they have all the fame. This is why you hear K-pop and Korean idols always commit suicide. Like, that's a usual thing in Korea. They always commit suicide. You're like, oh, but they had all these fans that love them, but they're living a fake life. And they're feeling dead and empty inside, man. So, she needed a support person at that time. Now, I'm not saying that her mother didn't love her or her family didn't love her, but they probably didn't know what was going on and what she was really going through and how much these comments on social media were getting at her. So if I was her friend, just give an example, like even her manager, like if she had a wrestling manager, if I was her wrestling manager or if I was just a friend, I'd be like, listen, that shit that happened on TV, that plays into your character, man. Look, you're a wrestler. You're tough. Use that. Fuck that TV show. That's just part of my character. I'm a crazy wrestler. I'm a strong woman. And let that play into, whatever character you're trying to build for your wrestling career. I would be like, listen, that shit is fake. The TV show is fake. Those people are fake. And all the people that are commenting on you, they don't matter. You got these keyboard justice, these keyboard warriors on here going, oh, yeah, this, and that. These people will never even get a taste of what you have right now. So it's like, they don't matter, man. And I'll just be like, yo, fuck all that shit, man. Let's go out. We're going to relax. Screw those people. And, let's talk about some alternatives here and how we could spin this into something else, But clearly she didn't have that at that time. I'm not saying she didn't have it or people willing to go that route, but obviously they didn't know what she was going through. And unfortunately, she took her own life. So, point being, you got to talk to people sometimes, man, because the way you feel, sometimes you might be jumping the gun or overreacting just a bit, So, that's just what I want to say here, man. When it comes to suicidal thoughts, look, everybody has suicidal thoughts, man. Whether they want to admit it or not, there's always, even at least once in your life, which I think is a lot more than that, but at least once in your life, you have a feeling of, what's the point of all this bullshit? Especially now with this COVID-19, nonsense that's running around the world. Some people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have lost family members, loved ones, friends, and where there's lockdowns left and right, there's all these rules, COVID passport, you have all this new shit that's just popping up and coming out of everywhere. And it's not a life that we're used to, mostly. Most people are not used to living like this. So you're feeling kind of trapped. And you start getting these strange thoughts of whether it be I want to kill myself or I need to go rob somebody or I want to, shoot up, a supermarket or a school or all the stuff we hear about happen on the news. These are the result of people getting these illogical thoughts because of, living in a stressful time that they're not really used to dealing with on a daily basis. So talk to people and look, the person who wrote this, you're saying that you want assisted suicide, but I believe that you truly don't want to die because people who want to commit suicide and they're dead serious about committing suicide, they just commit suicide. People who keep saying, I want to die, I think I want to kill myself, I think I want to die. Subconsciously, you don't really want to die because the soul sees beyond. You have these, how do I say this, man? Like, you're able to perceive outside of time and space. Our true natural selves exist outside of time and space, So your true self knows that committing suicide is not the most beneficial thing to do. Because, running away from this life and you think you're going to have this better life if you go into this spiritual world, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but if your thoughts are very chaotic now and you're afraid of everything and you're terrified of everything and you jump with every little shadow that pops up in the corner of your room, you're afraid of your own shadow, yourself in the mirror, and you have all these negative thoughts. We've talked about this in the past. How do you think all of that is going to manifest once you leave physical reality? Remember, as limited as physical reality seems, because you feel that you have all of this, hold on, back, you have all of this, how do I say? You feel physical reality is very limited, right? Most people do, like, well, I can't do this here, I can't do that here, I want to do this, I want to do that. When you leave this system, like physical reality protects a lot of people, believe it or not, because your thoughts, you don't manifest thoughts instantly in this system. That's what happens when you go into non-physical systems. So when you think, for example, when you get very angry, people, you watch a lot of these superhero dramas and movies and things in sci-fi, and you think, thank God that people don't actually have powers here manifested, or people can be reality warpers. Because imagine this planet would have been done a long time ago. Because the first person that got so pissed off because they couldn't get a coconut from a tree, or the saber-toothed tiger or this animal killed a family members there, and they were so raged out, they would have just wiped out the whole planet in a fit of rage and not even understood why. So this is why, physical reality is like a control system where you have to learn how to harness and control your power. And it gives you these lessons on a daily basis. How you feel is what you project outwards. And then when you go to bed at night, or in your meditations, or in your sleep, you get to see that other side of what's really going on in your natural state. And then you can fly, you could do this, you could do that, but you always return back here so that you have that opportunity to reflect on the life you will experience once you leave this place. But if you didn't have that, there would be no comparison. So you wouldn't know, you wouldn't be able to value these things. You know what I'm trying to say? So when you rage out at your boss, or you're mad because Amazon package is late 20 minutes, or you hit your foot on the edge of the toe, when you slam your toe on the edge of the bed and you're having a bad morning, you're running late, the dog took a shit on the floor or something, and then you hit your foot or you step in it, and you're like, what the fuck? All that energy right there in that moment, if you were able to manifest that time, you'd be like a nuclear bomb going off, and you wipe out fucking your whole city, if not half the planet. And this is for every individual in this reality system. So this is why we don't have full flex of our powers and abilities here. But if you do the practices we talked about in the past, and there'll be more to come soon, you will be able to control yourself. You'll be able to get proof and evidence of life beyond this life for yourself. And it will start to wean you away from some of these suicidal tendencies or thoughts. Not for everyone. Clearly, some people have deep psychological issues and emotional issues that need to be addressed. But I'm specifically speaking for people who pretty much have, most of their wits about them, but they're just going through a rough patch right now, and they feel that the best way out is just end it all, and commit suicide. But, if you hear a strange sound, that's not me, guys. Passing gas. That's this sofa here, creaking and stuff. See? All right, anyway, that's not important. I don't want people to be like, he's on the video passing gas. That's just a sofa. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but anyway. But yeah, so keeping it light, guys. Trying to keep it light, bring up the mood. But yeah, man. Look, I don't like to sit here. I'm not the moral police. I'm not going to tell people, don't kill yourself because it's the wrong thing. And they was like, who am I? I'm just an individual, one entity, one multi-dimensional being in a physical reality that's just expressing things out to help some of you. But, to each his own, man. If a person is truly committed to committing suicide, the best you could do for family members and friends is try your best to give them other options, help them through their issues, express your love and concern for them. Listen to them. Don't judge. Don't ridicule. Sometimes, I come from a tough love family, and tough love works for some people. It doesn't work for a lot of people. Oh, wait. Well, we talked about in the past how I said that, you know, when I was like, I want to die. My grandmother, God bless her, she passed away a few years ago. But, you know, she'd be like, all right, you want to die? Die. Here's the knife. She put on the table. There's the kitchen knife. You want to commit your suicide? Commit suicide. Go ahead. But I'll tell you this. Remember her famous quote? You die now, and that bitch will have another man by the end of the week. Famous quotes from my grandmother, which was true. It was true. And let me just finish on this note, right? Let me give you one positive. I got to finish up. It's hitting 40. A few years later, I'm already in my player mode. I got tons of women. I'm living life, enjoying. I'm in college, right? Downtown Manhattan. I'm in college. And I run into her, my ex-girl. This is like years and years later. So I run into her. I'm like, and by this time, like, I'm already, I'm over that shit, man. I moved on, got women 10 times hotter than she was. So I'm like, oh, hey, long time no see. And she was kind of like, oh, hello. Like, she was shocked. I was like, hey, how you been? And she's like, so I'm like, hey, so how's, I'm like, how's him? How is, I don't want to say his name, but how is he? And she goes, oh, you won't believe what happened. Now, there's a point I want to make. If I would have committed suicide, I would have never been able to enjoy this what I'm about to say. I go, so how are you guys, man? You guys got married or something yet? And she's like, you won't believe what happened. He cheated on me and my best friend, and they got married. And I was like, I started laughing. I bust out laughing. She's like, it's not funny. I was like, actually, it is funny because what you guys did to me was fucked up. But hey, I'm over it. Don't matter. I got a lot of other things going on, but hey, it is what it is, man. And she was like, it's not funny. She was truly my best friend. We were like sisters. I'm like, I get it. It just goes to show you how some people are, where they do things to you in life and they don't realize, like, they did, the things they did to you, when it happens to them, they act so shocked. I can't believe this happened. It's the same shit you did to me. But hey, man, I don't hold a grudge, whatever. It was good, though. That 2-minute conversation gave me, I already had closure, but it was like a bonus of closure. It was like, yes. So I'm going to leave it at this. Guys, put down the comments down below what you want to talk about. Let me know if you want to hear about certain things. I got a lot of stories to share in this reality, man. I got a lot. Physical reality and non-physical. And I got a lot of non-physical stories I passed on you guys, but I got a lot of physical ones here that took place in these time that I've been here up to this point in this reality system. But yeah, man. I put the donation button there. A lot of you, some of you I've contacted have hit me up in person, and we had little consultations and things like that. And God bless to all of y'all out there. Y'all looked out. It's like a support system. You supported me, support you, things like that. And, look, if you don't have it, clearly you don't have it. I'm not saying, everybody give me money right now. Clearly, a lot of people just simply don't have it. But if you do have it, some people, the same way some people don't have it, there's a lot of people that do have it. They have more than enough. And if you're one of those people, man, look, and I'm not living a lavish life over here in Japan. I'm living a very simple life, but everything counts, and if I get a lot of love, I could probably do a lot more things on this channel and amp it up, and take this, who knows, where we could all take this together to the next level, to something even bigger. And, could do a lot more things. But like I said, no stress. If you have it, share. If you like what I'm talking about. And if you don't have it, then you just don't have it, man. But I'm happy you guys are here. And let me know in the comments below what you want to talk about. If you want to hear some insights on certain things. And yeah, I have a lot of plans, man. Like, I want to start talking about, like, I'm not deviating from my whole, because this is what people don't understand, right? They look at me on a daily basis, people who know me personally, and they're like, oh, man, he's talking about all that spiritual shit, but then when I meet him, he's talking about something else. It's like, I deal with people on the levels that I have to deal with them on, If me and you are not on that level of talking about non-physical reality and what's going on in the fucking omniverse, you're not going to get that from me. You're going to get, hey, man, did you see, X, 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 and Y? But, but for those of you who do know me, that I operate on multiple levels of reality. And I think a lot of people are shocked because people who know me on a personal, like daily basis, they'll watch these videos and they'll be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It's not even the same person I'm talking to when I meet him. It's like, yeah, because you're not on that level with me, you know. So we're not going to talk about these certain subjects. But I'm going to start opening up this channel to more deeper subjects. It's always going to tie back to a lesson and a moral of, you know, for what's going on in the bigger picture. And the simple fact that, as I've said many times, you're not human, we're not human. Well, most people are not. Let me rephrase that. A lot of people are human because that is the belief system that they have picked up, and it's the one they want to stick with while they're here. There's nothing wrong with that. They probably have their reasons for wanting to play out the human belief system while they're here, and they don't want to remember their multidimensionality. But for a lot of others, they've realized this, or they're on the borderline of realizing this, and they just need that extra push, and that's what I'm here for, to help guide you through it. Because, you know, I can't give you anything but your own power back, or at least guide you to show you how to get it. So, you know, we got a lot, and I'm back. I made this video today at home, which is, it was a push to me, because I'm like, you know what, people have been supporting me, people have been sending me money, donating to me, and I got to give back. So this is the best way to do it, by getting more on point, just keep pumping out these videos and getting to the routines. I took a 10-month break, and like I said, the longer you go without making a video, you just stop making videos, you know. And this is the best way to do it, is just get on ball. And I woke up today, I was about to start my workout, and I was like, you know what, let me get a video in first, and then I could just finish the workout until I get ready to go out and go do what I got to do. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you to everybody out there who's watching me. This is Set, your multidimensional brother, guide, counselor. But I'm here, man. But yeah, oh, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I want to start going into a lot of other topics that still connect to the multidimensional perspective, but also giving you guys examples from my personal experience since I've been here in this reality, dealing from love, relationships, you know, dating advice, things that I've gone through, and maybe my stories could help you out on your journey while you're here. Because remember, you know, they say as above, as below, as, I don't know the phrase for it, but basically, the shit that goes on here, it happens on the other side, these other realities. And what happens over there reflects back over here, just in different ways. So, all right. Talk to you guys later. Love all y'all. This is Set. I'm out. Take care.